Okay, good evening. I'd like to welcome you to parents, coaches, and athletes to the Central High Winter Wrestling Awards Night. Um, as you'll recall, back in March, uh, we were just about ready to do the awards night on Monday, and the plug got pulled on everything on Saturday and Sunday, so we had to unfortunately cancel. And we've kind of waited a while, but we wanted to kind of bring some closure to the season and celebrate our winter. We were fortunate to get the entire season in, which I was very happy about, despite having it end so abruptly, or having the school year sort of end abruptly. Um, but I'd first like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video celebrating our season. But before we get into the awards and other recognitions, uh, we'd like to begin by taking this opportunity for some sincere thank yous to all of the people who helped make this season a success. First off, Mr. Winters, our athletic director, and Principal Vaccarezza, for giving me the opportunity to coach and supporting our athletes, and being good ambassadors for our school with the NHIAA, so that we remain in good standing. Mr. Karp, for the many hours taking pictures of all of our athletes. We have so many amazing pictures, and our athletes and parents, have so many great pictures and great things to commemorate the memories of the season. So we can't thank you enough for all those. I know you were at pretty much every match, and working hard to get those pictures. I even saw you on the video of the graduation, moving around, taking pictures of the boys. Don Kawaja and Mr. Kawaja, for supporting our team in the many ways, with food and running our concession stands at our home meets, and traveling to support our athletes when we're on the road, and always being great supporters of our program. The many alumni who volunteered their time to help work with our students, namely Momin Kawaja, Iba Arsakanov, Justice Brady, Cam Varney, and many more. They stopped in to practice and helped work with our kids, teach them some of the things that help them to be successful, and kind of acts as a connection to the alumni from our program, who still take a lot of pride in being a part of it. Coach Will Anctil, for all the time that he dedicated to making the season a success. I can't thank him enough for teaching techniques, the work he did with video and pictures, taking time out of his schedule to go to every meet, coach his butt off, and provide a great connection to the alumni. He was we did some stuff to kind of pull alumni in. He was really behind all of that, had a lot of great ideas, and probably more importantly, being a great bridge to our returning wrestlers. Having worked with them over the years, it was really a key to the success that we had, that he was able to tie those things together. Coach Will is on the video with us, so we'll hear a little bit from him. But say hi, Coach.
How's everybody doing? It's great to be here, and namely, thank you for everything you guys did this season.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, starting off the season, I was new to the school, new to the program. Certainly not new to wrestling or New Hampshire wrestling, which is very kind of a tight knit community across the state for the most part. But coming into the season, I wasn't really sure what to expect. And coming into the program after sort of what was a tragic loss of Coach Jason Cumming last year, there are a lot of uncertainties and things that I knew we would need to deal with and address with returning student athletes. But from day one, I was very impressed with the team's willingness to work and learn some new things, to be adaptable, to be coachable, and to just be a nice group of kids. Really, at the end of the day, that was what made it the most fun. I really enjoyed getting to know everybody throughout the course of the season, and I'm very thankful to have had the opportunity to work with everybody this year, especially those seniors who will be heading out, after this year is done. Also, I can't say enough about, what I was able to learn from the athletes who are returning, who taught me, a lot about how they've done things, in the central program in the past. So, I always go into things with a very open mind. It's not my way or the highway. I try to learn from everybody, and I learn a lot from, the athletes, and appreciated their feedback about how to do things. And, we talked a lot about the language of wrestling. Every wrestling move has about 12 different names. So getting to know the things that they're used to was very important, because a lot of times we're speaking two different languages, but we're talking about the same thing, I guess, in terms of wrestling techniques. So with that said, we're going to start with the awards, or the varsity letters and certificates. So traditionally what we do is we start with freshmen and then progress up in chronological order through the grades. And I'll kind of mention a few words about each wrestler. So our first award winner was Manny Velasquez. So Manny was a first year wrestler, first year on the team. He's a great athlete, very, very quick. He's got all the necessary talent to be a great wrestler, and to be as good a wrestler as he wants to be, if he's willing to put in the work and dedicates himself, to the sport. Also a good football player and basketball player. So I really look forward to seeing what he can do moving forward with wrestling, because he has a ton of potential as he progresses through Central. Okay, our second award winner, first year on our team, first letter, not new to the program though. She's, Central Wrestling has become a bit of a family affair with this young lady and her family. She was an invaluable member of our program, at every meet, running a perfect book, scorebook, which in wrestling can mean the difference between winning and losing. She very detailed, and has followed in her brother's footsteps, and being a part of the program, and her family has been a great addition, or great continuation of the program as well. That's Iman Khawaja. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Iman.
Moving on to our next award winner. So this young lady is a junior. She's been involved with the program for the past 2 years. She really did a lot for us, wrestling at both the 106 and 113 pound weight class for us. And a lot of times, she had to kind of, got thrown to the wolves a little bit, I guess, because even at the lighter weight class, she was giving up some weight, and always took it in stride. It was tough competitor on the mat, and that's Jeanette Altay. Great attitude too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, our next wrestler is a junior. His first year with the program. Started out a little bit rocky, getting used to how wrestling works, but has worked really hard to earn his spot academically back with the program. Really worked hard, learned a lot, and really tried to improve his level of fitness and conditioning throughout the course of the season. And I really look forward to see what he can do next year with an off season of training. That's Nail Kenchel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our next wrestler is another junior, first year on our team, first varsity letter. Came in, no experience with wrestling. Had to kind of learn on the fly. Another kid who, based on where we had holes in the lineup, had to get thrown out to the wolves a little bit and thrown into a varsity lineup pretty early on in the season. You know, going out against somebody from Timberlane when you only have a couple weeks of experience to somebody who's probably been wrestling 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It's no easy task. And he progressed, improved throughout the season, really worked on his skills and, in a lot of cases surprised me, surprised me with some of the wins he had, kind of pulled some things off that I wasn't expecting, which is always a great thing to see and what you want. You want people to improve and surprise you sometimes. That's Brian Macias. Okay, our next athlete, another junior. Struggled a little bit with injuries here and there, and being stuck kind of between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. Between he was in a weight class where he had really tough wrestlers on either side, so he had a hard time cracking into the lineup, but was able to wrestle varsity for us on a number of occasions. And he's another one who surprised me. He worked really hard, and came up with some wins that I was really impressed with. And when it came time to wrestle some of these matches, really brought out some intensity that I didn't expect anyway. And it was really exciting to see those moments with him. And he's got a lot of potential. If he wants to, put the work in. That's Brandon Perez.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our next athlete, third year with the program, third varsity letter, had a really strong season. Won the Milford tournament, won the Londonderry tournament, repeated as the New England girls champion. Has tremendous talent for the sport of wrestling and desire to improve. Her life has become very much of it all about wrestling. Puts in a tremendous amount of work and mental focus and intensity and toughness, quite frankly, into what she does. And I think that she can go as far with this sport as she wants to. It's fortunate. It's a good time to be a talented female wrestler, because it's probably one of the fastest growing sports at the collegiate level and internationally. So it's a great time to be in her position. And if she wants to carry that forward to the next level, she's more than capable of doing that. That's Alexis Dobson. Okay, our next athlete is also a junior. Kind of, I don't know. I was thinking of him. I was just sort of the name, the king of overtime, popped into my head, because I don't know if I've ever had a kid have this many had more overtime matches than he did this year. So a lot of 1 point victories, or a point or two in either direction. That's not easy to do, especially when you're in a tournament and you have multiple overtimes in the same tournament or on the same, quad meet day. That's taxing, especially when you're a big guy. So he really came on in the later part of the season. Very tough kid. I think he surprises people, because they think that, when they look at him, they underestimate him because he's a little bit shorter than some of the other guys in that weight class. And, when they get out there, they get more than they bargained for a lot of times. And he beat a lot of kids that I think thought they were going to beat him. And that's Andrew Farrell. I really look forward to see what he can do. We're lucky we've got him another year as our heavyweight. Okay, our next athlete, another junior, showed immense improvement over the previous year. I know he's worked really hard, to improve his level of conditioning, his strength, his technical skills. He's gone to camps and spent a lot of time at MPAL working on his skills. He became a very consistent performer for us, won many matches, and really had a strong season all across the board. Acted as one of our co-captains and provided a lot of great leadership for us throughout the course of the season. And again, lucky we're going to have him back for another season. That's Michael Hamill-Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're moving to our seniors. So our first senior, his first year on our team, first varsity letter, finished in the top 3 in several tournaments in Milford and Londonderry. Has had great athletic ability and strength naturally, which made for a much easier transition into the sport of wrestling as somebody who's never done it before. I really pushed himself to get better, and had a belief in himself that he was going to do well. I think he had to kind of learn that wrestling wasn't going to be as easy as he thought. In some ways, but luckily that didn't deter him. He kept working hard, had some early success, and sometimes that's what it takes you get a little bit of taste of success and you want to work harder. He earned the respect of opponents all over the state, just because of his aggressiveness, his strength, and as the season progressed, his technique progressed. He got harder and harder to beat, and he certainly will make, as he moves forward, he'll certainly make Manchester Central Wrestling proud. I'm very proud of him, and he'll make this country proud as he joins the Marines next month. So that's Raheem Dukes. And I just heard the other day, I'm sorry, Raheem, I know the Shrine game got canceled, which is a major bummer, but he was elected to play in the Shrine game to represent Central. But, this is a kind of a unique time in history, so sorry for you about that. Okay, our next wrestler is his second year on our team, second varsity letter. This young man put a tremendous amount of work in the off season to improve his skills in wrestling, and it showed. He went from, as a junior, not really winning too many matches to this year, placing at several tournaments in the regular season and at the state tournament, and moved on to the Meet of Champions. Which, so for a 1 year, especially in a tough weight class, Jackson really came a long way, and a big part of that was all the work that he put in the off season. One of the first people to talk to me in the fall, before I was even coaching, the wrestlers seem to find each other, and you mentioned wrestling, and the next thing you know, they're trying to get into your PE classes when they're supposed to be somewhere else, and because they want to talk wrestling. And he was one of those guys who was all about it. He had the wrestling bug, and had to make sure he kept going to football practice for a little while before he came out. But that's Jackson Robidoux. I saw you on that graduation tape try to shake Mr. Collins' hand too. He was like not having it.
A for effort, right?
Social distancing. All right. Our next senior, very strong kid, both physically and emotionally. Had to overcome some tough moments this year, to go on to win some tough matches. And sometimes some of our great, we struggle with what's more than what we do in practice and in the matches. And I really enjoyed watching him progress throughout the season. Just such a strong kid. His opponents, even sometimes when they beat him, they would come off the mat being like, they would tell me sometimes like, that kid is so strong. So, which is good for the field that you're planning to go into. He's going into exercise science. He's going to study exercise science. But, this young man is a great teammate, always willing to help his fellow teammates out, learning technique or little, setups for takedowns. Throw him in a jujitsu hold every once in a while too, when they weren't paying attention. But he was great to have on the team, and I'm happy to have had the opportunity to work with you. That's Nate Supis. Okay, our final senior, final wrestler. It's his third year on our team, his third letter. Great student athlete, kind of the epitome of what you want out of a student athlete. Very well balanced, kind of a little bit of a Renaissance man in some ways, involved in lots of different things. He is a top level student academically. Very strong athlete. Did very well for us. Had to struggle back from a few injuries, and I think had he not had a couple of those injuries, I think he might have been our next state champion. He was in that caliber for sure, and I was very proud of how he finished out the season, and we will certainly miss him at Manchester Central. It's Nicholas Karp. Okay, the next section is we're going to be giving out the awards. So we give out 3 team awards. So it's a most improved, a rookie of the year, and the coaches award. But we also have, and this is sort of a sense of pride among the athletes, we have something called the King of the Mat. And the King of the Mat award is certainly earned throughout the season, based on a number of things. So I'm going to kind of read what the basic criteria is of that. So throughout the course of the season, statistics are kept for all matches for all wrestlers, with each statistic being awarded a point value. These numbers are indicative of the wrestler who had the best combination of wins, takedowns, points scored, pins, points allowed, defeats, etc. So at the conclusion of the season, the points are tabulated to earn the title of King of the Mat. This year's King of the Mat, here are the top 3. In third place with 130 points was Alexis Dobson. Nice job. In second place with 183 points was Nick Karp. And the top spot, earning a total of 256 points, scoring this with an impressive 18 pins, which that scores a lot of points. This year's King of the Mat is Raheen Dukes.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, Raheen. That's huge, especially for a first-year wrestler. But yeah, it's a token of esteem you can take for how dominant your performance was this season.
Yes, the first period pins scored big points, and there was a lot of those. Okay, our next award is the most improved, which as a coach, it's always tough to give a most improved award out, because the expectation is that everyone should be improving throughout the season, especially if I'm doing my job and Coach Will's doing his job. Everybody should be improving, and the athletes, of course, are putting in the work as well. So, we have that hope that everybody keeps improving and we peak at the right time when it counts, so to speak, at the state meet. That's when kind of everything's on the line and we want to be at our best. This season's most improved wrestler joined the team as a junior and really worked hard to earn, his first few victories. has a little bit of an unconventional style in some regards, and he put a tremendous amount of work in the off season and took every opportunity to improve his skills. The work done in the off season paid off greatly with not only a winning record, but several regular season tournament podium finishes, and ultimately culminating in a top 6 finish at the Division I state meet, which punched his ticket to the Meet of Champions. And if anybody's seen the picture, that kind of put him over the edge to qualify this young man for the Meet of Champions, you can really tell how much it meant to him, to accomplish that. And I was really happy and honored to be able to share that with him. That's Jackson Robidoux.
Congrats, Jackson.
Nice job, buddy. Okay. Next award is the Rookie of the Year award. So the Rookie of the Year award, is pretty self-explanatory. Somebody who was a rookie came out and really impressed. So the Coaches Award is given to a student athlete who demonstrates, got misplaced there. So this year's Rookie of the Year had tremendous strength, tremendous athletic ability coming into the season, accomplished in other sports, but had no prior wrestling experience other than, what he watched on WWE style wrestling or wrestling. But from day one, he had high expectations for himself. Despite being only a first-year wrestler, he quickly learned that wrestling was perhaps a little more complicated than he thought. And that did not slow him down, though, from learning quickly, putting forth tremendous effort, and being very coachable, which, for any coach, that's probably the best thing that you can be is coachable. It just makes everything, everybody can achieve more when kids are coachable. So my only regret is that this young man did not join the team or the program earlier in his high school career, as he had a tremendous amount of potential, and it would have been really exciting to see what he could have done. But the fact that he did what he did in only 1 year is really impressive. And this year's Rookie of the Year is Raheem Dukes. Nice job, bud. Okay, our final award is the Coaches Award. So the Coaches Award, as I just started reading a second ago, is an award that's given to a student athlete who demonstrates the qualities of leadership, teamwork, and humility, and is an individual who can almost be, in my opinion anyway, some people may have a different criteria for this, but in my opinion, almost an extension of the coaching staff in a lot of regards. Somebody who other kids will trust and maybe go to for advice, for help, and also an individual who would offer help, offer coaching, when he sees that it's needed, and those kids that he talks to will accept it because they respect him, they trust him, and those types of things. So this individual had to overcome several injuries throughout the season that set his training behind. Instead of allowing his injuries to take away from his season, he made the most of it. He spent a lot of time helping his fellow teammates develop and improve by acting as an additional coach when he was unable to fully participate. He had another late season injury that threatened to derail the championship season, but he made the decision to go for it and managed to defeat an opponent easily with one arm at the state meet, and kind of did what he needed to earn all state honors and qualify for the Meet of Champions, where the thought was he could get there and then hopefully have a little more time to recover and really go for it at the Meet of Champions. At the Meet of Champions, he was still hampered by the injury, unfortunately, but put on one of the more gutsy performances that I've seen in high school wrestling, earning 3 wins and finishing with all state honors at the Meet of Champions, and really was, pretty close to getting into that third place match, even being in an incredible amount of pain. He kind of got to a point where it was just not he couldn't continue, unfortunately. But to do what he did and to come back from that type of injury really said a lot. And I was very impressed with how he handled it that day, because I know he was in a lot of pain even before the first match started. So that young man is Nicholas Karp. All right. So, as is tradition at each of the awards nights, they give out what's called the Little Green Award. So each team, if they have somebody that they would like to nominate, you don't always have to nominate one, but most teams will nominate someone for this award. This award is reviewed by a committee to select one boy and one girl to be awarded the Little Green Award. And the criteria for this award have to do with their multifaceted. So team spirit and school attitude, good sportsmanship, overall leadership, and any other characteristics that a coach sees fit to to nominate an athlete for. So it's kind of like your overall student athlete that leads by example, demonstrates good sportsmanship, the skills of leadership, has the team in mind, the school in mind, kind of your ideal student athlete who's also a senior. So I'm going to read the description, because this is what they do at the awards night. They'll read those of you who've been, you've seen it. They read the description of each nominee, and then they'll present the award to whoever they deem wins. So this wrestler came to the team in his sophomore year. After much effort and improvement, came back his junior year to finish 5th at the Division I championships, qualifying for the Meet of Champions. He continued to develop his skills, becoming the number 3 ranked wrestler in his weight class this year. As team captain, he epitomized dedication, loyalty, integrity, selflessness, compassion, sportsmanship, respect, and leadership. It is these qualities that will help him develop and reach his potential as he moves on from Central High School to study music and computer science at George Mason University. It is with great honor and central pride that Manchester Central Wrestling nominates Nicholas Karp for the 2020 Little Green Award. So that was the description that he would be called up to. And fortunately, the committee came to the consensus that the male recipient of the Little Green Award for the 2019-2020 winter sports season is our very own Nicholas Karp. Congratulations, Nick. I know that he was, I believe they gave him the award directly, I think before they even told me about it. So we're very, very happy and proud that somebody from our program, was able to be selected for that award. But more importantly, whether you win an award or not, you demonstrate the qualities that the award is based on. And my hope as a coach is that everybody who comes out of our program, develops those skills. And, people say when they see a Central wrestler, they say, that kid is, that's a good kid. And, they've had to, do certain things and sort of improve themselves in all areas. And that's kind of how we want to represent our program going forward, especially as you move on from Central. You want to be good representatives of the Central Wrestling program, Central High School, and Manchester. So we're very proud of you. I know I am, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a number of Little Green Award winners in the past, and Nick is absolutely deserving. Honestly, I had a hard time when we were discussing who to nominate, who to pick from the senior class, because there's just, you guys all were right there as far as I'm concerned. Everybody had their stories to tell, and I'm disappointed we can't nominate more than one because it would have been an interesting competition, I think, at the committee level to see which of you would have won that award this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really, the thing that I always, when people ask me from, my friends and people I've worked with at other schools, they ask me kind of how things went this year and, coaching wise. And I'm very, very glad that I came to Central because I couldn't be happier with what a nice group of kids everybody on the team really was. I mean, one of the best, just groups of people that I've ever worked with. And I've had quite a few good groups, but what a nice group of kids. And you know, parents, you should be proud of how your kids, um, you know, turn out. and those of you who are still in the program and still in school, keep on working hard and keep that up because will help younger generations of Central wrestlers to you know do the right thing and hold themselves, carry themselves in a way that they should.
Mhm.
Coach, did you want to?
Yeah, just let me pull up my notes here. Um, just going to ramble on for just a minute or two here. I want to take a minute to thank all of the parents. Without you guys, a lot of what we do would be very much impossible. Whether it's getting the student athletes to the school at ungodly hours, or supporting us at meets at very far distances to be in the packed, smelly gyms of our
Hmm.
honorable opponents, I'll say. Um, without you guys' presence and support, it's very, very tough to have the successes we've had, this year and in the past years. So again, thank you for everything on that front. I want to thank Coach Mills personally for stepping in this year when I was especially unable to. I'm glad he's in the school. He can help with recruiting, which I'll get to in a minute. Um, I'm just really, really thankful that he was the person selected with his experience and his know-how, and just everything that he brought to the table is a huge asset to this program. So I'm definitely thankful that he's here. And lastly, all the kids on the team this year, especially the seniors, but everybody made the season especially worthwhile and special for a multitude of reasons, given everything going on prior to the season starting, and then our ability to kind of overcome all that and push through that and show what we're really about at Central Wrestling. So thank you guys. Um, the sport's really about leaving things on the mat every time. Our seniors know this the most, and I feel like really everybody gave us that sort of effort and attitude all season. So I want to thank you for that. For those of you guys returning next year, we've talked about this whole progression curve and how it kind of ebbs and flows. You kind of have an uptick for a while, and then sometimes you plateau. Don't be discouraged if you ended the season on a plateau, because that means you're just going to start the next season booming, and there really is no limit as long as we train and prepare accordingly. Um, we where was I? And I hope everybody that's returning next year from this team is willing to help recruit, because without you guys, the five seniors, the five seniors that we lost this year, could have been a few more, but I'll get to that in a second. Without those bodies returning, we have a lot of progress to make as far as getting new athletic bodies in the room to continue our success in this sport. So I'm hopeful that you guys, as being our best ambassadors in the school, no offense, Coach Mills, you guys are the best representation of what this program's about, and you guys are really our best recruiters. So please keep up that effort, because it's definitely paid dividends in past years.
Absolutely. And as we
Uh,
move, oh, sorry.
no, you go.
As we move forward, you've heard over and over again, I'm sure, throughout the course of remote learning and all this stuff, that there's a lot of things that are up in the air, and a lot of things that we do not have control over. Um, we are working still at this point to see what we can, because I was fully planning on doing open mats and conditioning and lifting and all this stuff this summer. I would still like to do something, but we're working with, the regulations kind of just came out, and we're working with city administration to figure out what exactly we can do, um, that's safe and within regulations. We have no control over what school looks like in the fall, or what our ability to train normally or even get on the mat anytime soon looks like. But what we can control is how hard we work, okay? Whether that be as a group or on your own, whether you have access to a weight room or not, whether you can do a lot more than you probably think you can with your own body weight, exercises, running, you know, any number of things. If you've got anywhere you can do pull-ups, push-ups, those types of things. So Coach and I are going to be putting together a program for you based on what we can do. If we can get together and be socially distanced for the first phase and do a bunch of training, that's great under the circumstances. If we're not allowed to do that the way that we want to, we're definitely going to give you something that you can do and hopefully chart your progress, and still improve. Just because you may not have all the equipment, or maybe you do, that's great if you do. It's all about what you do with it. You can do everything you need to improve your physical skills. You can do some wrestling skills too. It's just tough to do without a partner, but you can do a lot to improve yourselves over the summer and into the fall. So we're going to help facilitate that and get that going very, very soon, and be kind of keeping tabs on how you guys are progressing. So I really look forward to doing that for those of you who are returning. I know some of you are playing football, and if some of the things with them are starting to get going, but we'll work with you with what you're doing so that can improve your wrestling skills, improve your football skills, and whatever else you're doing. So, anything to add to that, Coach?
Honestly, that's pretty much most of what I was going to say, but just one thing I want to highlight is it's not just physical training that we're looking to build this off season. We want to build mental toughness as well. So the body weight exercises, the running when it's ungodly hot out sometimes, it's going to all work together to build that mental toughness that is kind of key to success in this sport. So be on lookout for that communication from us soon once we have something put together. And we'll definitely try to be gauging some interest on whatever mat time we might be able to put together if my optimism is well founded.
For sure. We'll also be reaching out just to confirm that we're getting the certificates and those types of things to the right locations. So be looking for that probably this week. I'm going to reach out and try to get these certificates and letters in your hands. Other than that, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. I know Coach and I actually we did it a couple weeks ago, and the video became unrecoverable. So we had to get back together and go through and do it again. So you would have had a little sooner than this. But we look forward to seeing how everybody progresses over the summer, and hopefully with any luck and what have you, we'll see you guys soon. And again, thank you parents for everything, and go Central Pride.
Congratulations to the class of 2020. You're now distinguished alumni of Manchester Central Wrestling. Please come back and support the program in the years to come. Seriously.
Yes.
And on that note, I do have a small token of appreciation for our seniors. I'll be in touch with you about getting that, finding a way to get that to you. We'll figure something out. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.